Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3, Section 11. We will present to you about survey on traffic violation. This is our group members.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Adibi Ismail.
So now I will start the presentation by explaining the introduction about this project. Traffic violation can easily be defined as acts that violate the traffic laws of the states and countries involved. Traffic violations such as speeding and failing to stop at stop sign are intentional and result from a loss of focus rather than willful breaking of the law. There are two sorts of traffic violations, which is major and minor offences. Minor traffic offences such as speeding, not wearing helmet or seatbelt, and other moving violation normally do not require a court appearance. Statistic is a tool for gathering, categorizing, presenting, summarizing, analyzing, and interpreting data in order to draw conclusions and make wise decisions. In engineering, statistical data is important in a variety of situations, particularly in the context of our research in traffic engineering, a subfield of civil engineering. The analysis of variance, which is ANOVA, is a statistical method that divides a dataset's observed aggregate variability into two parts, which is systematic components and random factors. Random factors have no statistical impact on the supplied dataset, but systematic influence do. A box and a whisker plot is a graphical representation of variance in a collection of data. A histogram analysis is usually sufficient, but a box and whisker plot can give more information while also allowing various sets of data to be shown in the same graph. The problem statement of this project is the number of traffic violations occurs in Malaysia and the relationship between numbers of road users and traffic violation in Malaysia. Next, the objective of this project is to study the amount of person who breaks traffic laws and to investigate the relationship between numbers of road user and traffic violation.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Adila Izzati binti Alizani.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adila Izzati. Today I'm going to explain about the methodology of the project. There are 6 methods that we use in this project. The first one is Google Form. We have used Google Form as the main platform for questionnaire. The target respondent for the project are 200 respondents, and then we divided into 2 days. It become 100 respondents for each day. There are 2 parts on the questionnaire, which are Part A and Part B. The question in Part A is more focusing on the detail of the respondents, such as age, race, and occupation. There are also some general questions about the traffic violations. For Part B, the question is more focused on how many times the respondents involved in the traffic violation, such as disobey the red traffic light, speeding up over the speed limit, as well as how many respondents do not wear seatbelt on the road within a week. The second method is frequency distribution curve. Firstly, we have to identify the class interval of data, and then we have to find the upper class and the frequency of the traffic violation. Then, insert the formula to count midpoint, cumulative frequency, fx, x power of 2, and also fx power of 2. Repeat the same step for day 2. The third method is box and whiskers plot. The first step is we have to use Microsoft Office to plot the graph, and then check the minimum, first quartile, second quartile, which is median, third quartile, and also the last maximum. Next, calculate manually the upper and the lower inner fence value by using formula, and then create a box and whisker plot in graph form in Microsoft Office. The next method is mean and 85th percentile. First, we have to find the mean by using formula, and then arrange the data accordingly for day 1 and also day 2. Next step is classify the data into class limit and then calculate the midpoint, and then determine the frequency data and also cumulative frequency. In addition, tabulate all the data and information that has been calculated. The 85th percentile value was determined manually using the percentile method. The next method is F-test. First, we have to calculate the mean and the variance for day 1 and day 2 by using the formula given. Next, we have to determine the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, and then determine which sort of tail test should be applied. Next, use the distribution table, and then calculate the F critical and the value of F. Lastly, we have to compare the value of F critical and also the F calculated. Lastly, use the data analysis area of Microsoft Excel. The distribution test may be calculated as well. The last method is t-test. Firstly, we have to determine the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, which is HO and HA. HA is accepted when the sample indicate the HO is false. After that, choose a significant level, which is alpha. The probability of rejecting the HO when it is true is the degree of significance. Next, identify the test statistic, which is calculated from data, and then decide HO have to be accept or reject. And we have to create the decision rule, which the HO is rejected as well as those under which is not rejected. Lastly, make a choice. The test statistic is computed and compared to the critical value before deciding whether to reject or not to reject the HO. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Zulaika binti Jamil.
So now I will continue the presentation by explaining about the data and analysis result for this project. The first method is frequency distribution curve. As you can see on the left side, this table are the data for this method, which consists of class limit, upper class limit, and also frequency of day 1 and day 2. By using this table, we'll be able to create the histogram chart, which the number of road users against the average traffic violations. The second method is box and whisker plot. As you can see on the table, we have identified the value of minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and also maximum for day 1 and day 2. We also have identified the upper inner fence value and also lower inner fence value. By this table, we have managed to create the box and whisker plot chart, as you can see on the right side. The next method is to find mean and 85 percentile. For the mean, we use this formula, which is sum of fx divided by n sample. By using this formula, the mean for day 1 is 3.92 and the mean for day 2 is 5.33. Meanwhile, for 85 percentile, the formula are as stated. By using this formula, the 85 percentile for day 1 is 4.15 and for day 2 is 5.33. After done with this calculation, we created the graph on the right side, which the cumulative frequency against the average traffic violations. Moving on to the next one, which is F-test. So for this test, we have decided that the H null is variance 1 equal to variance 2 and the H alternative is variance 1 is not equal to variance 2. The significance level, which is alpha, is 0.05 and this question is a two-tailed test. So the formula for numerator, which is V1, is n sample minus 1, which we get 99, and the denominator also we get 99. According to the F table distribution, the critical F value is 1.39 depending on the numerator and the denominator. So for the F calculated, we use this formula given and we get 1.74 for F calculated. So since the calculated F value, which is 1.74, is greater than the critical F value, which is 1.39, and it falls in the rejected region, so we reject H now. Therefore, we accept the H alternative where the variation in both day 1 and day 2 are not the same. Last but not least, t-test. So for this project, we have decided that the H null is min 1 equal to min 2, meanwhile the H alternative is min 1 is not equal to min 2. The significance level, which is alpha, is 0.05 and this question is a two-tailed test. Since the n sample is larger than 30, we use the Z distribution. For the Z calculate, we use the formula given, and Z calculate we get negative 0.92. According to the Z table distribution, the critical Z value is 1.96. Since the calculated Z value, which is negative 0.92, is greater than the critical Z value, which is negative 1.96, and it falls in the rejection region, we reject HO. Thus, we accept the H alternative, and it is reasonable to conclude that the mean for both day 1 and day 2 are not the same. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name Muhammad Azri bin Nizamdin.
For discussion, frequency distribution curve, day 1, distribution is logarithmic to the right. Datasets have nearly all the frequency value clustered to the left side of the graph. More than half of the data were on the class limit of 1 to 2 and start decreasing rapidly on the next class limit. And for day 2, are skewed to the right or positively skewed, because most of the data are concentrated on the left of the distribution. The right tail of the distribution tends to extend farther from the center curve compared to the left tail. The distribution of day 2 began to increase the number of road users from 22 to 49 at 3 to 4 average of traffic violation, and then decreasing to 19 at 5 to 6 average traffic violation. For box and whisker plot, day 1 show a positively skewed distribution which is skewed to the right. The left whisker is shorter than the right whisker, and the second quartile or median is nearer to the third quartile. It shows average traffic violation at minimum first quartile, second quartile, third quartile and maximum. And day 2 show a symmetrical distribution. The whiskers are the same length and the median Q2 is the center of the box. Based on calculation of the mean value and 85 percentile value for day 1 and day 2, there is slight difference between the two of them. The mean for day 1 is 3.26 while mean for day 2 is 3.92. They show that average traffic violation for day 2 is more than day 1. On day 2, more traffic violation occur than day 1. The 85 percentile for day 1 is 4.26 while for day 2 is 3.84. It shows that 85% of day 1 violating traffic is 4.26 and 85% of day 2 is violating traffic is 3.84. 15% left is violating traffic with 4.26 above and 3.84 above.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Arif Afifi bin Jupri. For the F-test, the F-test utilized in order to examine either the traffic violation average between day 1 and day 2 are equal or not. The comparative test of average traffic violation on different days was conducted at 95% confidence interval. The calculated F, which is 1.74, is greater than the critical F 1.39 and falls in the rejection region. So we reject HO. Therefore, we accept HA, which states that there is a difference in the variation of the average of traffic violation for both days. Lastly is t-test. Based on the region of rejection for hypothesis testing, since the calculated Z value, which is negative 0.92, is greater than the critical Z value, which is negative 1.65, and it's fall in the rejection area, we reject the HO. Thus, we accept HA, and it's reasonable to conclude that there is a difference in mean of traffic violation average for the 2 days. And that's all for our group presentation. Thank you.